find it interesting that the modern audience that clearly doesn't exist has so much pull when it comes to making choices on how a game gets made in the modern era. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT, and Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is the latest victim to fall into the censorship paradox, where the developers over at Capcom seem to have no idea who their audience even is. And it's gotta make you wonder, why? Why do you keep doing this? Gamers across the board are saying, we want our game the way it always has been, just update the graphics, maybe enhance it, add some missions to it, make some cool new stuff, maybe add the cut content that happened in the original, and we're good. You don't have to do anything too crazy to get people excited about a good game. But no, Capcom took it into their own hands and said, we understand it's a mature rated game, and we understand it's for a mature audience, but we still worry that you guys can't handle these sensitive topics. And honestly, we don't want to get canceled in the modern era, so we're just going to change everything and tell you it's for your own protection. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down all the censorship changes in Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster that completely blew my mind when I started diving into this, and it was even worse than I initially thought. If you guys have been coming to the channel for a while, I'll put the link above me right now. I made a video about how Larry Chang was race swapped, and that was really bad. That was a bad look that people picked up on during the initial reveal trailer, and we're like, oh god, if they're doing that to one of the characters, what else are they changing? A lot of people were speculating that maybe that was it. It was just one little thing that they changed because they were worried about offending a certain segment of the population that literally didn't care about it the first time around, but for some reason they would this time. But no, a lot more changed. More things that prove that this is not just a one-off or a couple things, but the absolute slippery slope that is continuing to downgrade and destroy the video game industry as we know it. It's a trend we've seen all too often in the video game industry these days. Developers, in this instance from Capcom, making significant changes to remasters or remakes, supposedly to enhance the experience for modern audiences. The developers claim these changes are made to appeal to both new players and returning fans. The proven and sad part about doing that is you lose everyone. And in this instance, as you'll see, nobody is happy about it. One of the most glaring instances of censorship involves the removal of a key piece of dialogue from a boss fight with Cliff Hudson. In the original game, Cliff, a hardened Vietnam War veteran, refers to the player as a filthy communist during the fight. And this kind of exposes the developers behind the game of not liking that word being used in a negative connotation. Not trying to point fingers, but you add two and two together. If they're removing the word communist from the game as a negative thing, I don't know, I just can't help but think that maybe they're a little bit partial to it.
I know why. It's because you're Viet Cong. I'm right. Aren't I? You are nothing but a filthy communist.
The line was entirely scrubbed from the remaster, and in its place, you are nothing but a filthy animal. Here, check it out for yourself.
I know why. It's because you're a mole. I'm right. Aren't I? You are nothing but a filthy animal!
This change has caused severe frustrations for passionate gamers of the original Dead Rising, to say the least. A lot of the fans are arguing online that, while politically charged, it fits the mature tone of the game and the character's background. Washing it away from the dialogue lessens the impact and attempts to erase a very real history. And that is the concerning part. If they're saying, oh, the modern audience that picks up this game won't understand the reference, we're just going to remove it. How about you leave it in there and curious minds might look it up and be like, where's this coming from? Why would someone say this? Oh, there's a history behind it. Let me learn something about this so we don't forget the history and repeat the same mistakes that have been made in the past. Oh no, we can't have that though. Let's just tame it all, remove it all, and just make it just really bland and just say you filthy animal because modern audiences just can't handle reality. But this next one I'm going to talk about is actually the reason why I wanted to make the video, because it was so over the top that I was just like, You've got to be kidding me. The photo that gets shown off in the cutscenes from the photographer is talking about a photo that he got and wanted to show it off to Frank West. And in doing so, they changed not only the dialogue, but the photo itself.
Now this is my sexiest shot.
Why? Because we can't have a scantily clad woman in a picture anymore, because that's just too offensive for the modern audiences. Let's replace it with a bunch of Lego head people.
Now this is my funniest shot.
That's so ridiculously over the top that you'd think that I'm making it up. Why would you change that? Who was complaining? And why are you listening to clearly someone who is so offended by everything that they're going to complain about anything? It's a mature rated game after all. So why is Capcom suddenly so concerned with softening the language and removing a, let's be honest, a cute girl in the original version? It's decisions like this that leave me wondering whether the developers are sanitizing games in ways that fundamentally alter the original experience, and why they're doing it. Is it truly about modernizing content, or is it about appeasing certain cultural and ideological pressures? I think you guys already know where I stand on this one, and watching these, it's pretty obvious. In Famitsu, Capcom actually gave a statement on the censorship and trying to rationalize where they were coming from. They stated, "When developing Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, we tried our best to create a game that would please returning core fans and appeal to new players alike. As development progressed, we inevitably discovered that we couldn't include everything from the original game. In the case of the erotica point system, which I'll get to in a second, this was something we discussed at length and decided to remove. Not so much as a response to the changing cultural climate, but because we felt there is no need to have a rewards point system on this basis. Additionally, when considering Frank's situation, it is not an appropriate reward for survival and not a skill required of journalists trying to stay alive for the next 72 hours during a zombie apocalypse. However, players will still have the right to choose their picture subjects freely, and even though they won't receive points, it is up to them to decide what photos they will take to represent their journey." So this was one of those situations for people not familiar with the original Dead Rising. You would actually get erotica prestige points via a prestige points system. And in that original Dead Rising, you would earn the points by snapping photos of survivors. And certain photos, like those that captured cleavage, would earn you points towards leveling up, which honestly was in line with the irrelevant, over-the-top gameplay mechanics of Dead Rising, and something that was made for gamers to have some fun with the game, because at the end of the day, remember, it's a game, and gamers enjoy having fun with games. They don't not necessarily always have to make sense. Where Gerald Jones on Twitter made a great point saying, "Additionally, when considering Frank's situation, it is not an appropriate reward for survival and not a skill required of a journalist trying to stay alive for the next 72 hours during a zombie apocalypse. And riding around in your underwear on a tricycle is?" Like, this is proof right here that they are picking and choosing what they are allowing to come through based off their own ideologies. And if you try to say anything otherwise, you're either lying or kidding yourself. It could just be, "Hey, that's cleavage, take a picture and get points with it. That's fun. Gamers enjoy that, but we can't have that because, oh no, feminists are upset that you're taking pictures of cleavage." And it goes on and on and on, but these are the ones that really stood out to me. I could talk about the explosion effects and how the original from nearly 10 years ago had better graphics in the explosions than the remaster. And it's just one of those things where you look at the game and they're charging a premium price for it, $49.99 USD for the vanilla version of the game, for the remaster, where you can still purchase the original for $9.99. So you can have it for 1/5 the price, $10 for the original uncensored version, or you can spend 5 times the amount of money for what ends up being, I guess you could say, some minor improvements on the graphics. I'm not going to lie about that. The graphics do look a little bit better, but at what cost? There's so much censorship in the game. The voice acting is, many people, by many accounts, is not as good. And most of the game itself is just kind of like, why would I play this? The graphics on the explosions, everything else in the game, It's fine, it's okay, but they've changed so much from the original to destroy the intent of the original artist's meaning. And that, at the end of the day, is the frustration that a lot of people have with this game. Checking out the Steam reviews, they are majority positive, but I did want to focus on one of the negative ones because I feel like this really hits home on what a lot of purists were concerned about. Dekra reviewed it saying, "Not recommended. The game is fun, and it's one of my favorite series, but this review is to show how the politically correct is ruining everything along with censorship. Why did they have to exclude the erotic photos, censor the Asian psychopath Larry Chang, remove and ruin the meaning of Cliff's line about the communists, take away the revealing panties from the models of some female characters, and make the entire game more censored? Funny, they give rating 17 plus, but remove erotica and keep the gore. Why did they have to make this bleep more inclusive? For who? I don't give a F if you are trans, gay, whatever your gender is, because I'm not against anyone. I only want good games, not this type of bleep like Concord." And here's the craziest part about all of it. I said it was $50 for the remaster, but if that's just the vanilla, if you want the full-on extra ultimate edition for $10 more, you can get the Frank West 2006 costume, the Chuck Green costume, and the Willamette Parkview Mall B costume. So for $10, you can get the updated graphics costumes. Or you could buy the entire original game for that price. It doesn't make any sense. The financials behind it, Capcom's decision making, none of it makes any sense. And honestly, it explains why the players, while there are some on Steam database right now, as of 1 hour ago, they had 2,105 people and the all-time peak of just under 5,000 people. It's a good amount of people when comparing it to Concord or Dustborn or any of those other ideologically broken, driven games. But at the end of the day, this is a paltry amount of people that they could have had if they did it right. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that should be the takeaway that Capcom has with this, not trying to satisfy a non-existent modern audience. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, full details, screenshots, and all the information I could find, check out smashjt.com. I will link that article in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, please consider hitting that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
I just got it in here. It's fresh. You just wait right
Got it in here. It's fresh. You just wait right there.
Smash, change, smash.